Mm-hmm. I don't hear anything. Do you, Brandon?
I hear you, Susan.
Hi. Hi. Star. I see Brandon and I see Star.
Here I am.
Hi.
Hello.
I guess maybe the audience hears us as well.
I don't think, yeah, I think they do actually because we're live. Is Allison on?
She was. I think she dropped off.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm just letting everyone get settled in. Sorry, I was on mute there for a second, and I see that some folks are here and can hear us, so welcome. We're glad to see all of you tonight. Lots of good updates for you to get you excited about how Ubuntu USA is progressing and the strides that are being made to create this to take our vision and to make it the truth and make it something real. So I want to pull up tonight's agenda for you, and let me actually make this a little bit larger because I think I can without losing, well, maybe a little bit smaller. Let me try that. But let me scroll down to the agenda. Susan is going to actually open tonight's meditation for our group. And then we're going to move right into the news and updates portion. And Brandon has joined us, and he's going to give us the real-time information in regards to One Small Town. We'll go over some of the things that we have in the past and some great tips and tricks and how to get yourself involved with Ubuntu USA and as all the way to your local community and your neighborhood. And then we'll take some time for some questions, and we'll talk about when the next meeting is happening. So hopefully you're ready to go. So with that said, I'm going to turn things over to Susan. We welcome all of you.
Thank you so much, Allison. Good evening, Star, Brandon, and everybody else on the call. To each and every one of you, good evening, and thank you so much for being here. We have a lot to share. There's a lot going on with our Ubuntu community. And with all that's been happening at Standing Rock, North Dakota, with our Native relations, I thought I'd open with a few words, just express myself. Where I'm staying, there's a beautiful book, Grandmothers Counsel the World, and I happen to know a couple of them personally. I've set up in ceremony with them. So I'd just like to read a few quotes from here and then maybe say a short prayer with everybody included in this. You know what I say, we have a sacred circle here with each and every one of you joining us. So I open to Mitakwye Yasin. Mitakwye Yasin means all my relations. Mitakwye Yasin, all my relations, acknowledges that within each person exists the entire universe. All who have ever lived, all who are living now, and all who are on this planet, all planets and all the stars, all of the sacred universe since the beginning and end of time. Om Mitakwye Yasin to each and every one of you. Then I opened to page 130, and there was a quote, "We must learn how to wake up and stay awake during these dark and changing times." And then Grandmother Julieta of Mexico speaks of the power of prayer, how the power of prayer is able to see prophecy by being in continuous prayer, in quotes. I live in that place of the power of prayer. What I see is that unity and what the world must strive for now. In this unity form, everything comes together again. All our relations come together again in circles of people who are at peace again within themselves and who permit and have patience with the ones who have not arrived at such peace yet. These circles need to be formed everywhere so that we can become one again on the whole planet, in this visible world and in the invisible world. And the last quote before a very short prayer asks us to feel our breath and to take a deep breath. And if each of us could do that, just take a breath and take a moment to join our hearts in prayers and minds in prayer. Take a deep breath and close your eyes. Allow your body to relax and settle for just a moment. Feel yourself soften, and as you relax, you begin to feel a little lighter. And within another breath, we'll pray. Mother, Father, God, beloved Creator, Great Spirit, Holy Spirit, we say thank you for all creation. Thank you, archangels, angels, and ancestors and guides. Thank you for the four directions and all directions. Thank you. Thank you for our Mother Earth, our Father Sky, the moon, the stars, the star beings, and our sun. Thank you. Thank you for the sacred fire, the precious air we breathe, and the holy water of life. Thank you. Thank you for the animal, mineral, and plant kingdom, the tree and rock people. Thank you. Thank you, beloved Creator, for the First Nations people of our land. Thank you. Thank you for this holy circle of people, Creator. Each and every person on this call this evening, bless them. Bless them, watch over them, protect them, be with them. Thank you. Thank you for our beloved brother, Michael Tellinger. However you touched his mind, thank you. Thank you for our beloved star, Rebecca, Alice, and Brandon, each and every one of us on this call, our families, our communities. And Creator, at this time, I want to say thank you very, very much for the water protectors, Father, at Standing Rock. And for all those supporting them with prayer and resources around the world. Thank you. Excuse me. Bless them, watch over them, protect them, be with them. It appears to be a very difficult and dangerous situation. Guide them, heal them. Ignite ourselves with light, Creator, from the bottom of our feet to the top of our heads. Let the thin veil of separation be lifted so we can see, Creator, so we can feel, so we can help, assist with this vision of love. Forgive us. Forgive us for ever believing that we're separate. Help us remember that only love is real. Help us remember we are one. Help us to extend this love, this light, this peace to our family and friends and communities, nations, and all sentient beings. Beloved Creator, maybe some way, somehow, we can awaken. Maybe some way, somehow, we can return this sacred land to our First Nations people, to all people, Creator. Maybe some way, somehow, we can let the water be. Let there be food and water. And beloved Creator, to take care of the children, the holy children in our world. Help us. Help us to learn how to wake up and stay awake during these dark and changing times. And beloved Creator, through our Ubuntu community, help us to create freedom and abundance for all. In this holy, holy circle, in all these holy circles of our communities, we ask and we say, Aho, Mitakwie Oyasin, all my relations. Aho. And together we can take another breath and just be in gratitude for our presence here this evening, and for all those working for peace, for equality, for freedom and abundance for all. Thank you. And so from there, I pass it back to you, Star or Allison.
All right. Thank you, Susan. Wow. This is Star speaking. That was a very powerful prayer. Thank you. I definitely felt that in my heart, and that was beautifully, beautifully said. Thank you very much. So, Allison, if you could switch us to the next slide there. So we have a lot of updates to cover tonight. I'm going to give you some of the updates that we have, and then Brandon's going to talk more about our One Small Town campaign, which is our Ubuntu plan of action. So I wanted to start by saying that Ubuntu is rapidly growing, as always. We have many, many people reaching out to us on a daily basis. The movement continues to grow day by day, and especially at this time in history when more and more people are awakening to the truth of how our systems are broken and how we need to find a different way. And so we're having more and more people reaching out to us and saying, how can we get involved? And how can we begin to move towards an Ubuntu world? So currently we have active Ubuntu movements in 58 countries, which is pretty amazing. And Ubuntu USA is supporting multiple teams at this time to get their movements up and running. We've been working most recently with the Canadian team to get their team together. I know that they're in the process of forming their team, which is very exciting. And we've also been working with the team in India, and we're happy to connect with and support any teams around the world who would like support or guidance in getting their Ubuntu movements up and thriving. So another update that I want to offer is that recently Michael released an email saying that we were out of the contributionism books in the United States. They completely sold out, which again is another indication of people's interest in the movement and support of the movement. And so Michael has had to place an order with his publisher to get more books. And we're the USA team is actually going to become the distributor. So one of the problems that Michael had is that he had several distributors here in the United States, such as Amazon or other distribution companies, and he was not seeing the profits for it. He was not seeing the returns for the purchase of the books, and so he sort of let some of those dwindle down with the old distributors that he had. And now the United States is going to be distributing directly to the people. So Rebecca Gratz, who is our national coordinator, and she oversees the state coordinators. Rebecca Gratz will be the main book distributor in the United States, and then the state coordinators will also have an opportunity to be book distributors in their states and local areas. So there will be more information about that coming out very, very soon. We're also restructuring and expanding our team. So the movement has grown to the extent where we have had to restructure our core team to be able to accommodate everything that this movement requires to continue moving forward and expanding. So Allison, if you could switch us to the next slide there. I want to introduce you to some new team members for the core team. Pauline Ludwig has recently joined us as the new public relations ambassador. And so she's going to be working with us to increase awareness and to expand the movement and to help us to promote the many events that we'll be having in 2017. And so we're very, very excited to have her as part of the team and look forward to getting to know her further and working with her to expand the movement even further. We also have Chuck Tyler and Ray Diaz, who have both joined us as multimedia video production specialists. And we are currently working on multiple videos for Ubuntu to be able to get the message out there in a different way. And also there will be a video released as part of our One Small Town campaign. And so we're very thankful to have 2 new multimedia video production specialists on our core team. Lastly, Gloria Fontaine has joined us recently as a lead designer. Jessica Graff has been working as our sole designer for about the last 6 months or so, and she's been very, very busy with all of the flyers and information that we put out, any kind of official releases that we make as a movement. Jessica Graff has been the one to design those, and so we're so happy to have another designer, Gloriana, joining us, and will be taking over some of the duties that Jessica has been carrying for many months. And they've been working together to help us design some new logos and t-shirt designs, which will be released in the near future, and they're doing a fantastic job together. So we're very grateful for both of them. And I just want to make the announcement that we still have some openings on the team. Michael recently put out an announcement indicating that we were restructuring the team, and he put out all of the possible positions and sent them to us, and there were many people who responded, but the positions that we're still interviewing for are healthcare ambassador. Sylvia Bird was working as the healthcare ambassador, and for personal reasons would like to step into more of a supportive role. And so we're looking for somebody to take the lead in terms of our healthcare focus for Ubuntu. We're also looking for an operations manager, somebody who can help us to oversee all the moving parts and some of the administrative tasks involved in keeping the movement going. We're also looking for a political ambassador. We have a few people on our political team. We have Lenny Time, who's working as a political advisor, but we're looking for somebody to step into a lead role in terms of the political side of Ubuntu, which has more recently taken a backseat to the One Small Town campaign. And I think Michael has recognized how I'll say complicated the United States political and governmental systems are, and how trying to get involved or go up against some of those systems are not going to be successful for us. And so we've decided just to start with the towns and the people themselves, and skip the political focus. I think we will continue to pursue the political focus and to recruit potential candidates who would step into leadership roles in local governments, so that we can continue to convert more and more towns over into an Ubuntu lifestyle. But we are seeking out somebody to take on that circle, that area of focus, and with some experience. So that is another position that's open. And lastly, our science and technology ambassador. So we do have about 3 or 4 people on our science and technology team who are focused on new technologies and free energy. And I know that Michael has recently connected with a company, Noka Energy, who is interested in collaborating with Ubuntu to provide the Ubuntu communities with a free energy source, or a more eco-friendly energy source. And so Michael is actively in those negotiations now. So if you feel inspired or know somebody who might be a good candidate for these positions, as I mentioned, we do have some applicants for these positions, and we are sorting through all of the various people who initially contacted Michael and reaching out one by one. So if you have already submitted your name, don't worry, we're working on it. We will definitely be reaching out to you. But we had many people who were interested, and so these positions are still open, and if you feel inspired, please reach out to us, and we would definitely like to talk with you about that. And thank you, Allison. Allison just posted my email in the chat box, which is s.mckinnon, MACKINNON, @ubuntuplanetusa.com. So feel free to email me directly if you are interested or know somebody else who is. So go ahead and jump to the next slide for us. The other major announcement that I want to make is that Ubuntu is joining with several other major humanitarian organizations and alternative media sources. So this new paradigm that we're all shifting into is no longer about us and them, it's about us. And so it's about coming together for the greater good. And so those of us who are on the leading edge and who are awake and aware of this new paradigm and this transition are binding together, and it's a beautiful thing. I've been over the last 2 weeks, I can't tell you how many meetings that I've had with people from different organizations who just want to join with the momentum that Ubuntu already has and work together. We all have the same intention. We all want to create a better world, better systems that work for all the people, not just a very small percentage of the people. And so it's really exciting because Ubuntu is becoming connected with all these organizations that you see here on the screen. Right now we're focused on Standing Rock, which I think many of us are, because it is such a focal point in terms of this heightening of duality that's happening right now in our world. And it will be, you know, I think we're all really praying, and our consciousness is focused there as things continue to heighten between the, you know, the police there and the water protectors, and then with the veterans coming in. We'll just have to see what happens. But we are, we stand with them in support of the water protectors, and it's very exciting that we're joining with some of these other organizations that are also very interested in assisting Ubuntu to implement the One Small Town campaign. So go ahead and switch to the next slide there. Okay, so a few more news and updates. There's a lot happening, and actually this is not even the extent of it. I'm just kind of giving you guys what we know about for sure. There's even more happening behind the scenes that is going to be unfolding for Ubuntu over the next few months. And so another exciting part of Ubuntu is that we are launching a conscious marketplace. And so this is going to be similar to Etsy, where conscious creators are going to be able to offer products and services and offer, you know, what their passion is, what their natural skills and talents are, and you're going to be able to create your own online shop. And it's going to be very similar to Etsy, except that it's really going to be focused on you know, health and wellness and a kind of higher consciousness. And of course, Ubuntu is going to make it so that you know, whatever the portion is that Ubuntu takes to list your products or services is going to be less than other sites that are available, like Etsy or eBay. because obviously we want to support the people, and we want the funds to go back into the communities. So this is very, very exciting. Michael and many of us on the United States team have been working with a developer. His name is Marty, and he is designing this platform for us. So we're hoping to be able to launch this within the next couple months. So if you are an artist or a creator, or you're able to offer a service of some kind, get ready, because we may be able to offer you a new platform that's going to be in resonance with people who are also in resonance with what you're offering. The other announcement that I want to make is that Ubuntu is also working on a B&B platform similar to Airbnb, and so that people who are Ubuntu supporters or of similar mindset or lifestyle can offer up either rooms that they have available or homes that they have available, and so we can support each other wherever we go. And so I know that Michael is working on that platform as well to create a connection point for people who are interested in that type of service. So there will be much more coming about both of these announcements at the next collaboration meeting that we have. And again, we will be happy to take any questions at the end of the meeting. So if you have questions about any of the announcements that I've made in terms of our restructuring and in terms of the connections that we have with other organizations, or these last couple of updates that I've offered, please hang on to those questions, and we're more than happy to answer those for you at the end of the meeting. So for now, I'd like to go ahead and transition the meeting over to Brandon, who is our project manager. Brandon is overseeing the implementation of our One Small Town campaign. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to you, Brandon.
Well, hello everyone. Hopefully everyone has read the One Small Town manifesto, and if you haven't, please go to www.onesmalltown.org. Just some quick updates for those who have read the manifesto. I don't want to re-explain what we had already written, but the manifesto, as by definition, is basically our published and public stance of what we are trying to do, and we're trying to share this message with everybody. Right now, we have over 1,500 unique visitors who have visited the website, and let alone the last week or so that it's been up. So the message is getting out there, and we're averaging around 60 a day. So it's just growing as more people share. Right now, I'm actually in the process of putting together the Indiegogo campaign. So hopefully in about 2 weeks or so, we will be able to do a fundraising for the One Small Town. And the purpose of this fundraising, or this crowdfunding, is basically to raise the funds to help with the administrative overhead of creating the blueprint. So while the manifesto, as 4 or 5 pages that it is, that tries to explain this thing, we need to have a blueprint that really explains exactly how this is done, from the investments that are made by investors into factories and items for the One Small Town, to even going to the selection process of narrowing down the one town that we will focus on. And all that takes time and money, and that's really the point of this fundraiser for everyone, not just in the United States, but globally, to help us, because this blueprint that we're creating, while its execution is to make literally one small town come to fruition, it really sets the path for all across the world going forward who can use this blueprint going forward. So in about a week or two, you'll start to see the emails go out, and it's something that, you know, we need your funding and we need your support, much like PBS does in their fundraising operations, because there's a lot of things that need to happen, and unfortunately, until we can get to the moneyless society, it does require money to power the things that we need and to get the people on board to help with this message. I've been getting a lot of emails, and I've been certainly doing a lot of phone calls with people, and the most common question is, what can I do to help? what I start out and tell people as somewhat of a joke is that if you've watched Fight Club, the first rule of Fight Club is to don't tell anybody about Fight Club. I would say the first rule of One Small Town is to tell everyone about it. So certainly if what you have read has resonated with you, go onto Facebook and to your, especially Facebook or any social media, and write a small post that describes why this means something to you in your own words, and include a link to onesmalltown.org. And the idea is, as your friends look at this, who understand the things that you're into or what you believe in, that it will resonate with them as well, and that we can get a really good multiplication effect, because we do need to let people know about this. I've shared this with a lot of my friends. I've shared posts on Facebook, and I've got so many of my friends asking me, what is this thing? Because there is this undercurrent of wanting to have a change and believe that there is a good change that can happen. And I think with all the craziness that we have seen through our political process, that the change that we're looking to do is something that's very realistic. It's something that can actually happen in our lifetime, and certainly the timeline is hopefully within a year that we get started. So the best that a lot of people are asking, can they contribute their time and their labor? Absolutely. At this point, you can register to the Ubuntu Planet website so that you can be registered in our database and have your profiles in there. But right now, the best thing that everyone can do is really to help spread the word and let everybody know what we're doing. So right now, I'm actually editing the video. Michael has prepared a lot of different video clips for me. It's been humorous for me and for him as well, because when you write a script and then you're trying to read the script, then you lose some of your own passion in talking, and so he alternates between talking directly to the camera and ad-libbing to going and then sometimes missing things that he needs to say, versus reading the script that has everything that he needs to say but yet misses that. So it is an interesting challenge for me as I try to piecemeal this all together, and it's something that for those that are on this call to understand, there's a heads up of the challenge that faces me personally in bringing this video together and trying to capture all of this in a way that inspires people besides the written word, to hear his voice, to see who he is, to understand more of the passion that each one of us has about this idea of helping one town at a time, but helping essentially everybody in the community to elevate themselves. So that's where I'm at for this next week, is to get this video, get the webpage, the Indiegogo page up. The onesmalltown.org website will be going through a facelift in about a week as well. So there's a lot of changes going on, as Star was saying, and trying to keep everybody up to speed. If there are any questions people have for me, you can certainly catch me in the chat room, or my email is at the end of the manifesto. We are looking for conscious millionaires, is the way Michael Tellinger puts it, for those that believe in the cause, who understand that they can help society one small town at a time. I can create some business plans or show them business plans that allows them to invest in this opportunity, where their number reason for doing it is for the social change, but certainly there is a return of investment for their capital that they would provide. So that is something that is very important for us going forward, is to have sufficient funding to build these factories, to build these things, that this industry that we need to be self-sufficient in any town going forward. And so those are the things that I say to most people, what they can do to help is to spread the word, and just look to see if you might know people who do have a sense of consciousness, and who are looking for an opportunity to invest in something different that would be profitable for them, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that they will be able to be a part of change. So back to you, Star.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, so as Brandon said, right now we're really focused on just raising awareness. And so if you're willing to be support of Ubuntu and what we're doing in terms of our plan of action, it would be fantastic if you could share our website, this onesmalltown.org, with as many people as you can. Share it on social media, email it to any friends that you might have that would resonate with Ubuntu and our intentions. So as Brandon said, we're really just focused on trying to raise awareness as much as possible about One Small Town. And then in the next couple weeks, we'll be launching our fundraiser to begin to raise funds to actually begin to implement it. So we will be running the fundraiser, I think for, is it 60 days, Brandon? I think you said.
Yes, that's the idea, is to run it for 60 days. I mean, the minimum goal is 25,000, but my personal goal is to reach 100,000 or more. And I think we can as the message gets out there. So the idea is, just to let everybody know, is after 60 days, which takes us probably sometime into February, that's when Michael will be coming out back here. And this is when we will do a big kickoff of the operation, where he will be here, being able to meet with people, have more seminars, and this will really give us the real financial push to move forward with One Small Town.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, so so we will be running the fundraiser, and then we hope we have a tentative schedule to be able to select our One Small Town of focus for our pilot by the summer of 2017, and then to actually begin implementation by the fall of 2017. And those timelines, as most of you know, timelines can change. So those timelines can happen more quickly, or they can be extended depending on what's happening. But as we've been talking about tonight, the momentum has definitely been building behind the movement for some time, and so we're really excited that we have this concrete plan of action where we can really start making change happen where it needs it the most. And so we're starting with the small ailing towns within our country here in the United States. And then, as I've mentioned before, this will expand. The United States is serving as sort of a pilot for this One Small Town implementation, and then will expand globally. So Michael is very focused on the efforts right now in the United States. And once we succeed here with our One Small Town implementation, we'll be expanding that outward across the globe. So thank you very much, Brandon, for giving us that update. So Allison, if you want to switch it to the next slide. So we always like to talk a little bit about how you can get involved with Ubuntu, because this movement is for all of us. This movement is, it's about you, it's about me, it's about our kids' future. And so we always want to let you know how you can get involved. You know, you may not have the time or energy to get involved at the national level or even the state level, as some of us have, but there are very small ways that you can get involved that have a very large impact. So the very first thing that we always suggest is to purchase the Contributionism book. And so, as we said, they're a little hard to find right now in the United States because they've sold out, but any day now, Rebecca Gretz should be receiving, Michael is shipping multiple boxes of books to Rebecca. And so we're gonna set that up as soon as possible to be able to begin that book distribution again. We'll probably set up a Amazon selling account so that we can get that out to the people as soon as possible. So if you haven't already, the book has very, very comprehensive information about what Ubuntu is, what the history of Ubuntu is, and the full blueprint for Ubuntu, including implementation and reforming education, financial systems, you know, how the communities will be governed, etc. So many, many questions are answered in that book, and so that's a really great place to start. The other thing you can do is purchase the Bolton Valley webinar, which is on our USA website, which is usa.ubuntuplanet.org. And so that is the last webinar that Michael did here in the United States. It was a full day seminar that he offered live from Bolton Valley. And he goes into extensive detail about this plan of action that we have. It's a very lengthy webinar. I think it was from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. with some breaks in between, and luckily those breaks have been edited out for you. So, you know, feel free to purchase that on the United States website. I think it's available for $25, and you can download it right from there. Another thing that you could do is to start up an Ubuntu meetup group. If you're passionate about Ubuntu and you feel like that you understand Ubuntu and some of the Ubuntu basics, it would be a fantastic thing to start up a meetup group or a local circle of people who meet and just talk about what the Ubuntu world will look like as it continues to manifest and unfold. And that's really a really powerful thing. It's just getting together, you know, with other people and really, you know, expanding upon these initial ideas that Michael Tellinger has provided for us and continuing to allow this this Ubuntu philosophy to organically expand and grow and to manifest. So many of our core team members run local meetup groups, and they feel like it's often a really rewarding experience. And sometimes it's just you and one other person, where you just invite somebody to coffee who you think may resonate with this idea, and you show them the book, or you just talk to them about some of the basic concepts of Ubuntu, and just get that conversation going. I also want to mention that we have materials available for you. So if you do want to bring together groups, or maybe you have a friend that you've introduced to Ubuntu that wants to know more, we have materials available for you on our sister website, which is www.ubuntuplanetusa.com. And that website has many different materials that you can download, including presentations that Christine Barbieri, who's one of our implementation specialists, she put at least one of those together. And then we've recently added new PowerPoint that's directly from Michael himself. Michael the man himself has recently donated a PowerPoint that he's put together for public release. One is an introduction to Ubuntu and the basic principles, and just runs through the basics of Ubuntu, you know, what he offers at most of his presentations. And then he's also added an additional PowerPoint, which is focused on the banking system and money, which most of you who are here on this webinar probably know that's one of Michael's favorite topics, is to raise awareness about our banking systems and just how broken they really are. And it's really a great time to be talking about that, because there are so many shifts happening financially, globally. You know, the powers have shifted to the east, and I think there's going to definitely be some changes in the United States here in terms of our financial and economic systems. And even as they, you know, try to adapt to some of the changes, people will find that there will always be conflict when there's money involved. There will always be hierarchy and power struggles and suffering when there's money involved. And so ideally, we ultimately want to transition to a community, a society without money, where we're just exchanging our passion-derived gifts and services to each other, and we support each other through unity and community. But in the meantime, while we're in the middle of this transition, it's good to just raise consciousness for people who are totally unaware of what's really happening, you know, that money is printed out of thin air, and that the Federal Reserve is a private corporation that's running our government. So if you'd like to know more about that, please go to our website, www.ubuntuplanetusa.com, which was developed by Jeff Henry. Thank you very much, Jeff. And he's put all those materials up for you, and it's free to the public. So, and both of those PowerPoints from Michael are available on that site. And I believe, Allison, thank you very much, Allison. You're on it. Allison put the link in the chat if you guys want to check that out. So can you go back just a little bit, one I think there was something else. Yeah, okay. So video presentations. So Michael is in the process of recording a short video presentation, 20 to 30 minutes, which he will also give to us and offer freely to the public. So if you wanted to have a meetup or have a presentation, maybe at a local school or at the library, you could show this 20 to 30 minute video and then open up a discussion about, you know, what do you guys think, and what would this look like if this really was the way that we were living. So those presentations will be coming very, very soon, and by the time that we meet again, I hope to be able to say that they are up and available for you there for free. Another thing that you can do is to follow us at Ubuntu Planet USA on Facebook. We have almost 11,000 followers on Facebook, and it's a great way to stay up to date with what's happening day to day, moment to moment, in terms of big announcements or big changes or happenings within the Ubuntu movement. Michael is often posting on the United States site, so feel free to like us so that you can follow what we're doing and be privy to announcements that come out day to day, including when these meetings occur. The last couple things that you can do is just to spread the message when given the opportunity. You know, so when you have an opening, when, you know, it seems that, and I'm guessing that many of you feel the same way, that these discussions are coming up more frequently about what is happening, what is going on with our world, and something doesn't seem right. And I think more and more people are waking up to this reality, and it's a perfect introduction to Ubuntu, which is why, again, I mentioned earlier, so many people are becoming aware and aligning, attracting the information about Ubuntu into their lives. So if you have that opportunity in your life with friends or family, or anyone, you know, maybe somebody at the supermarket, to step in and have that conversation and just raise awareness about this weird word called Ubuntu and what it means, and just really introducing it into the collective consciousness as much as possible. And then, of course, really taking the time to go inward and connect with your own inner guidance to discover what your true passions are, so that you can utilize those passions to contribute to others and to society. I think, you know, so many of us, including myself, went through the motions and went through the traditional schooling. You know, I went all the way up to the doctoral level and really don't care about my advanced degree because it doesn't mean anything. You really have to figure out what lights up your soul, what resonates with your heart, what you could do for free for the rest of your life, and it wouldn't matter because you love it so much. So I would invite you to do that work. It's an important time, I think, to be doing that work, to really go evaluate your life and figure out what is creating resistance for you and what it is that you're drawn to, and use those passions and natural talents to contribute to others in your life and in your local community. And then, of course, you can always go to our website to learn more. We also have a donation link there. All of us are working on a volunteer basis for now. And so you can check out our website, usa.ubuntuplanet.org, which is our main website. And then again, the website with materials available for you to download and more information about what we're doing is www.ubuntuplanetusa.com. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch to that next slide there, which I think maybe was the question slide. Okay, so I think I saw a couple of questions pass by. Allison, I don't know if you were keeping track at all.
I was. I think most of them have been answered. I know that there was a question about an update on Bolton Valley, and Susan had mentioned that there would be an update on that soon. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. Maybe we, have someone join us in a future meeting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Bolton Valley is still up and running. They are an Ubuntu-based community. They're in Vermont, and they are doing very well as far as we know. We have several team members, including Susan, who are in pretty constant contact with them. If you want to visit them or check out the community and see what they're doing, you're always welcome to go there and visit them. They have a lodge called the Lotus Lodge Inn. And so if you just Google Bolton Valley Lotus Lodge Inn, you're welcome to stay there and meet them and see how they're living. We also have the community in Athens, Ohio, which is the Green Fire Farm run by Dick Hogan. And those are sort of the two active Ubuntu communities that are currently active communities where people are living according to Ubuntu principles. They're working together to create a functioning community. It's really exciting that we have those two communities to learn from and to be able to experience in person. If you're interested in either of those, you can. Like I said, you can contact them directly. Green Fire Farm, if you just Google Green Fire Farm, they have a website. I know they're going to be updating their website really soon, but there's definitely some information that's available now to you if you want to learn more about those now. So it doesn't mean, just because we're shifting our focus to one small town, it doesn't mean that these other communities have disappeared or are no longer functioning. They're up and running and, as far as we know, thriving. Yet our focus in terms of our plan of action to really begin to implement Ubuntu into our collective consciousness and into our country, starting at the local communities who need it most. This is really, as we've mentioned in previous webinars, our plan of action that we developed with Michael when he was here in New York. We really sat down as a team and kind of tried to figure out what is the best way for us to begin to implement this, rather than kind of waiting for these communities to pop up here and there, which they are. We have other communities and other people with property who are contacting us on a regular basis. But we really want to be able to establish a blueprint that will work not only for these intentional communities that are forming, but for the towns that are already in existence. There's a lot of towns and communities and even cities that really are struggling to survive. And so Ubuntu creates a way for people to be able to not only revitalize their town, but to become abundant in doing so. And just by contributing 3 hours a week to their community for their designated community projects, they get to have a return. They get to profit from that small amount of time that they're contributing. And as their community begins to rebuild itself, they'll be able to reduce their hours in their normal employment, which I know sounds great to a lot of us, right? To be able just to contribute to our communities and live a different way, to live with a lot more freedom, and to be able to live in communities that we're proud of, that are abundant and functioning and interconnected by the community members. So thank you for that question. I think that was you, Christine, maybe that asked that. We have had a few other people reaching out to us saying, what's going on with Bolton Valley? And they're there, and if you want to visit them, they would love to have you. And thank you, Allison. Allison just posted the link to Green Fire Farm. So what's going on with the Bolton Valley website is that they're redoing their website. So I'm not sure if their website is up right now, but they are there, and you can just Google, like I said, Lotus Lodge, Bolton Valley, and you can book a room there and go stay with them if you'd like. And I know that they're revising their website, so that'll be back up soon. And we hope to have a direct link from our website to that, so you can just see that directly from the Ubuntu website. Another announcement that we want to make that Susan has just reminded me about is that there's going to be a Ubuntu Planet Unity Within Community radio program that we're going to be starting soon. Michael and I and other team members are often on radio shows or podcasts, and we're actually going to be starting our own radio program very soon. And I know that Susan is working on that. So we're going to be getting the message out in a lot of different ways, including the radio program and our video production and our social media, and just and through your word of mouth and connection to each other. So were there any other questions that came up during?
Unless there's something new, Star, I think you hit everything. I think we're good.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Anybody else have any other last minute questions? I don't see any. Lots happening. There's a lot happening, and we're really excited to be connecting with some of these other large humanitarian organizations. I also want to mention that you know, there are people who have financial resources, who are awake and aware, you know, and these investors are beginning to step forward and starting to fund some of these humanitarian organizations. So, you know, the momentum for this paradigm change is here. If you can't feel it, it's definitely here, and it's happening now. It feels very messy and chaotic, but change often does. And so we just kind of have to hang in and step back and see it all happen, because it is happening now. And Ubuntu is here, and we're only going to be expanding. So we thank you for joining us. And our next meeting is actually going to be in January. So we're not going to be having a December meeting because it would land right at the holidays, and that can be, I think, a tricky time for all of us to come together. So we're going to be having a meeting in early January. And as we've mentioned before, if you registered for this webinar, you don't need to register again. You'll get a notification of the next meeting coming up. And we hope that you can join us there. And then feel free to share the webinar registration link with anybody that you know that might be interested in learning about what we're doing here. So no meeting in December, and we will see you all in January. So thank you again so much for joining us here tonight and helping us to raise consciousness during this very, very important time. And as always, feel free to reach out to us at any time. You can see our email addresses there listed on the screen, and or you can connect with us through the Facebook page. We've got Amanda Ray, who's working as our social media ambassador, and she monitors that website and can answer any messages or questions that you might have. So again, thank you all for joining us. And we hope that you will continue to learn about Ubuntu and implement it into your own lives as we move forward as a team. So we'll see you next time. We'll see you in early January. Thanks so much for attending.